What if another you exists right now, living a completely different life? One version of you might be watching this video. Another might never even find Futurepolis, and in another universe, you could already be living your dream life or your worst nightmare. Imagine billions of versions of yourself spread across infinite realities, some similar, others unrecognizable. Welcome to the multiverse theory, where infinite versions of reality collide. But what does this really mean? Think about it. In one reality, you chose a different career. In another, you live in a different country, and in yet another, you never even made it past childhood. Some scientists estimate that if infinite universes exist, then every possible outcome of your life has already happened and is happening somewhere else. This isn't just philosophy, it's mathematics, a consequence of probabilities and the strange rules of quantum physics. The concept of parallel universes isn't just science fiction. It goes back to 1957, when a young physicist named Hugh Everett proposed the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. At the time, his ideas were dismissed as bizarre, even crazy. But today, his theory is one of the most fascinating explanations for how reality may truly work. Everett suggested something radical. Every time a choice is made, reality splits. One path where you said yes, another path where you said no. Every decision, from the biggest to the smallest, creates new branches of reality. Imagine choosing your career, saying I do at the altar, or even deciding what to eat for dinner. Each option exists somewhere in another universe. To give you perspective, think of how many decisions you make daily. Some studies say the average adult makes about 35,000 decisions each day, most of them unconscious. If Everett is right, that means tens of thousands of new universes branch off from your life every single day. Now expand that across billions of people, and you get an almost incomprehensible multiverse of possibilities. But how could this be possible? The answer lies in quantum physics, the science of the very small. At the quantum level, particles behave in strange ways. They can exist in multiple states at once, a mystery called superposition. It's only when we observe them that they collapse into a single state. Physicists like Max Tegmark and David Deutsch took Everett's ideas even further. Tegmark described levels of the multiverse, from universes separated only by distance in space to universes with entirely different physical laws. Deutsch argued that quantum computation itself may prove the existence of parallel realities working in harmony. Think about it. When a particle exists into places at once, perhaps the entire universe does too. To make it more relatable, consider Schrödinger's famous thought experiment with the cat, alive and dead at the same time until someone opens the box. Now imagine that experiment applied not to one cat, but to the entire universe. Some universes contain the alive version of events, others the dead. It's bizarre, but it's also one of the most accepted interpretations in modern physics. Let's bring this back to your life. Imagine one version of you became an astronaut, walking on the surface of Mars. Another version became an artist, painting galaxies on giant canvases. Another stayed home, living a quiet and simple life. And yet another took a risk, became a billionaire, or lost everything. Every tiny choice adds up. What school you attended, who you talked to, even the decision to watch this video. Somewhere out there, another version of you chose differently. Now pause for a moment and think, if you could look across infinite mirrors and see all the versions of yourself, what would you find? Would you recognize them, or would they terrify you? If you could switch places with one alternate version of yourself, would you do it? To push this idea further, consider famous historical figures. Somewhere there's a universe where Einstein never published his theory of relativity. Another where Cleopatra ruled the world for decades. Longer, and one where the internet was never invented. In those realities, human history looks completely unrecognizable. The butterfly effect doesn't just apply in movies. It could be playing out across infinite worlds right now. Of course, the multiverse is still just a theory. We have no direct evidence it exists. Critics argue it's untestable, more philosophy than science. But some experiments give us strange hints. In quantum computing, particles sometimes behave as if they interact with invisible copies of themselves. Some physicists suggest this could be evidence of other realities brushing against our own. Others disagree, saying it's simply mathematics at work. For example, researchers at Oxford have explored quantum interference patterns that could imply interaction with parallel states. NASA even funded projects looking into whether certain cosmic radiation patterns might be fingerprints of other universes. While nothing conclusive has been found, the fact that such studies exist shows just how seriously scientists are considering the possibility. What's clear is that the multiverse forces us to confront our limits. If true, it means our universe is not unique. It's just one of countless possibilities. And if every outcome exists somewhere, does that mean free will is an illusion? Or is it proof that our choices matter more than ever because they shape infinite worlds? Philosophers have debated this deeply. If you're just one branch of infinite possibilities, then maybe your choices are predetermined. But another school of thought says the opposite, that your choices are the brushstrokes painting infinite canvases of reality. And if so, even the smallest action, a kind word, a risk taken, a step forward, echoes across countless worlds. The multiverse isn't only discussed in physics labs. It has captured our imagination in culture, art, and philosophy. From Marvel's superheroes to Rick and Morty, the idea of infinite realities fascinates us because it speaks to something deeply human, the question of what if. Think about pop culture. In Marvel's Doctor Strange or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, storylines hinge on parallel realities colliding. Audiences love it because it reflects our own curiosity. What if I had chosen differently? What if the world itself had unfolded in another way? Science fiction, from Star Trek to Interstellar, uses the multiverse to explore questions we secretly wonder about in our daily lives. What if you had chosen differently? What if reality itself isn't singular but endlessly branching? Philosophers argue about what this means for identity. Are you truly you if infinite versions of you exist? Or is identity just one thread in a vast cosmic web? And here's a deeper question: if another version of you committed a crime, does that reflect on you? If another became a saint, does that mean you carry that potential too? Now imagine the choice was real. You stand before a portal, glowing with infinite possibilities. Step through, and you could become a happier, richer, or more powerful version of yourself. But what if stepping through means losing everything you know here? Your friends, your family, your memories. Would you take the risk? Would you switch lives with another version of yourself? So, would you switch? Tell us in the comments below. And if you want to keep exploring the mysteries of space, time, and humanity, subscribe to Futurepolis. The future starts here.